Hunters, welcome back to the channel. This video is a little more directed towards newer glaive hunters that have played the game but have never tried Insect Glaive. This is a great comfy build that helps you learn Insect Glaive without the punishment of endgame gear skills. Now, of course, even regular glaive hunters can use this build to practice your glaive skills. Specifically for those of you who, if you have a few monsters that you just can't beat efficiently, you can use this build to hone your dodging skills and learn the monster patterns. Before we jump into the build, I would like to mention a quick promotion here. I am now partnered with Humble Bundle. If you guys haven't heard of them, they are a great source for discounted digital copies of your favorite video games, including Monster Hunter Rise. In addition to sales, a portion of all purchases go towards the charities in addition to the developers. As a partner, your purchases using my referral link will also support myself and the charities of my choice, specifically the Princess Margaret Cancer Foundation. I previously was a student who carried out and studied cancer research as well as volunteered at various cancer hospitals, so supporting cancer research is very close to my heart. So if you guys are planning to buy yourself or gift your friends some new games, please try to buy them from Humble Bundle using my referral link that you can find in the description below and support cancer research as well. Thank you so much. Now let's grab a wire bug and head on out. Now this build does have a few comfy skills, so it does lack a little bit of damage. But overall, after testing, I found that it really only adds 2 to 3 minutes to my Elder hunts. So it still outputs decent damage, so it definitely is a great way to continue to practice against monsters and see all of their moves, since you're not using a much higher DPS build that can stun lock or stop monsters. The glaive I picked for this build is a very specific one, the Altaroth Trident. Now it's a raw glaive with 330 attack with a lot of white sharpness, no base affinity, 2 level 2 deco slots which is huge, a level 1 deco slot, and a level 2 rampage slot. Finally, it also has a max kinsect level, which is also one of my driving factors for this choice. Now 100% you can use different glaives with this build. This is not the only option, I just really wanted to try this glaive since it has some great deco slots and raw damage. My second choice would have been the Royal Order glaive. Still a great option, and quite honestly there are a few more that you can mix and match. But yeah, this glaive had some great deco slots and it doesn't require too much effort to build. The kinsect that I chose for this build to pair it with is the Lady Tower. Now I was looking for something to give me status effects which could give me more opportunities to damage a monster. Lady Tower provides this by both being a blunt kinsect that can, if you mark the head, you'll get some KOs, as well as having paralysis powder, so you can get 2 to 3 paralysis stuns in a hunt depending on the monster. Looking at the armor here, we do have some endgame pieces which of course if you haven't reached you can swap out. I have the Tio Kaiser Helm, the Archfiend Chest, the Furious Rajang Gloves, the Almudron Coils, and the Nargacuga Greaves. Now particularly from this set, if you don't have the Furious Rajang Gloves, you can replace them with the Alloy Gloves, which still maintains that 2 critical eye. So let's take a look at the skills and break it down a bit further. Inherently on the build we have level 7 critical eye. Since this is a comfy build, you don't have a lot of extra skills to add damage, so you need to get all your damage from the crits. We have no attack boost, but the 90% crits on weak points on this build thanks to level 7 crit eye and weakness exploit 3. Now for Wex 3, it is important to note that I used a specific Wex 2 charm. It's not exactly a god charm anymore. Wex 2 with a minimum 2 slot is more common now in MR ranks, and I think you guys should be able to obtain it at a normal gamer pace. If you don't have Wex 2 though, replace one of the critical boost jewels I placed on the weapon with Wex. The 5% boost that you get from a single critical jewel isn't as worth as making sure that your chances to crit is 90% with Wex maxed out. The more crits you can get, the higher your damage will be naturally. Additionally, since this is a learner comfy build, having Wex will force you to learn to hunt and hit critical weak points on monsters using the glaive. Hitting these weak points will result in more critical hits, thus rewarding you for being more efficient and being precise with where you are attacking. The last damage skill is Chain Crit on the chest. Chain Crit gives you plus 5 attack on any initial hit and plus 10 after 5 hits, and your damage remains boosted until you stop attacking for 2 seconds. If you're new to Glaive, Glaive is a weapon that utilizes multi-hits, so it's good to practice getting multiple hits in a single combo. Additionally, this skill does activate with kinsect hits, so if you're using a powdered kinsect, this skill is almost always active as long as you have the monster marked and your kinsect is hitting the monster, Thus, your damage is just boosted until your Kinsect returns, and even then, if you can attack while your Kinsect recharges and then send your Kinsect back out, you can maintain this chain crit buff. So those are the main damage skills. Looking at the comfy skills, you'll notice that I designed this build as a learner or a build to hone your skills. I have chosen Evade Window as opposed to Evade Extender. In brief, Evade Extender quite literally extends the distance that you evade, so it moves you farther away in a single roll. Evade Window increases the time you are invincible as you roll. It essentially gives you more iframes and means that you get punished less for dodging a monster's attack a fraction of a second less or later than you should have. For Insect Glaive, I think this difference is very important. You do a lot of damage on the ground and in the air, and while you're on the ground, you want to be close to the monster, not rolling 100 meters away and then having to run back. So having Evade Window will keep you safe while still teaching you to maintain a close distance to the monster, and better yet, it'll teach you and give you the space to really dodge appropriately, and then you can return some damage while the monster resets. This is a big part of glaive combat. It's not like Greatsword where you can do one swing and that's it and then you can run around. You have to learn to fit in damage between attacks until you get a knock or a break or make some sort of big gap in the monster like a stun or a KO. So yeah, after that we have Power Prolonger 3 on the coils. This skill extends the time that your Kinsect buffs are active. It gives you more time to attack without needing to rebuff or get your extracts again. This actually pairs really well with Powder Kinsect gameplay. You want the Lady Tower to be marked on the head as much as possible to get 2 to 3 KOs in a hunt. The Lady Tower also has paralysis powders, so you can also get 2 to 3 paralysis stuns, so the less you have to use the Kinsect to gather extracts, the more you can focus on applying status to the monster. Now this does utilize a level 4 deco, so if you don't have the parts for this, just use the level 2 Power Prolonger jewel. Even level 2 for Power Prolonger is more than enough in my opinion. Next we have Constitution 3. Glaive does use a bit of stamina, especially if you guys are running Aerial Glaive. The new Kinsect Slash skill that was added in Sunbreak uses quite a bit of stamina, but Cons 3 is enough to reduce this and make sure that you have some stamina left over during a combo sequence. On this build, I again use a level 4 deco slot for Cons on the gloves. I mentioned earlier in the video, if you do not have the Furious Regen gloves, you will need to change these gloves for the Aloy gloves. If this is the case, you won't have the level 4 deco slot, so in my opinion, if you don't have a Wex 2 charm, put a Wex jewel in this slot on the gloves and check your charms. If you have a better Cons charm like a level 3 Cons charms, put that there. Constitution on charms is much easier to acquire, so you guys will have that faster than a Wex 2. But remember, if you change the charm, you must make sure that you reduce your critical boost jewels and make sure the Wex is maxed out first. If you have a Cons and a Wex charm, honestly that would be the best. The next skill I want to talk about is Bladescale. Now Bladescale is a sharpening skill for this build. All 3 of these are from decos, and I did add one to my charm. Again, the charm came with the level 2 deco slot. So if you don't have this Wex 2, again, try to change out the charms to see if you can get a charm with a level 2 slot on it. Now I will admit, Bladescale is not the best sharpening skill, but I have designed this comfy build as a learner build. I want you guys to be able to practice dodging on monsters, and Bladescale when maxed out activates 100% of the time when you appropriately dodge an attack. The skill activates when you dodge an attack within the right period, so essentially it rewards you for being precise with your dodges. Rolling at the very last second before the attack hits you means you take no damage and you get some sharpness back. It's a great skill to use in my opinion to start learning iframe dodges. It rewards you and tells you on the side that when you completed that dodge successfully and gives you some sharpness back. And with this armor set as well, your invincibility is increased because I used Evade Window 4. That's why I chose Evade Window. These 2 skills combined is a great way to learn IG on ground and really understand iframe dodging. Now of course with better builds and less Evade Window, the iframe rolls do become a little bit more narrow, and honestly that's the goal, for you to be able to dodge monsters without having any Evade Window on the build. Later on, once you get very comfortable with the monster, if you want to challenge yourself a bit, change the greaves on this build to the Ingot Greaves. They give you some attack boost while maintaining crit eye at a jewel slot, but they take away 2 evade windows, so it narrows that window and it's going to require you and train you to be able to roll exactly at the moment that you're being attacked and be more precise with your iframe dodges. Now the last few skills here, I do have recovery speed 2, which basically means if you get hurt, the red zone health recovers 3 times as fast as it normally would, so you don't have to worry as much for health. Finally, since this build has the Furious Regen gloves, you have a skill known as Furious. Now this skill is quite interesting. It builds up Fury while you are on the red scroll, and once Fury is maxed out, you switch to the blue scroll and temporarily gain infinite stamina. At level 1, this Fury builds up over time, taking about 1 minute and 40 seconds, and once you switch to blue, you have infinite stamina for 30 seconds. The indicators are on your hunter. Your hunter will start to develop some white smoke around you when you are half charged, and once you are fully charged, the smoke poofs with some yellow lighting, and the smoke changes colors from white to a deeper yellow. For this build specifically, you can use this as an opportunity to get some good aerial damage in. Aerial damage with Kinsect Slash usually uses quite a bit of stamina, but with this skill you have infinite stamina for 30 seconds, so you can go wild in the air. It'll be a great way to practice to learn to dodge in the air, as well as learn which attacks you shouldn't be in the air for. Definitely a fun skill. I am putting a full Fury build together, but because of how long it takes up for the charge, I haven't felt it's entirely worth, but I do need a little bit more testing before I can confirm, so be sure to subscribe to the channel if that changes and I post up a video. And yeah, that's about it for this video everyone. I hope you guys enjoy this comfy learner build. It's not the most comfy build for sure and not the highest DPS. This build really focuses on giving you the opportunity to learn your skills, hone your skills. It doesn't lean too much into defense or evading, and it also doesn't have so much stamina that you don't need to care about it. Bladescale combines really well and rewards you for dodging as well. You can honestly maintain white sharpness constantly if you dodge appropriately in a hunt. If you hit blue, it's kind of an indicator that you may not be dodging precisely on all the attacks, and that's something for you to practice. So yeah, with that guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoy this build. Let me know in the comments if you try it out, and I'll see you next time. Take care, stay safe, be happy, and keep hunting. Sky Sensei is out.